Hello and welcome, everybody. We are continuing our series called Taming the Inner Critic. This is class 2. And we are looking at Jewish approaches to taming the inner critic, not judging others negatively, not internally criticizing others, being slow to jump and judge, and rather being able to be generous, charitable, and expansive in how we look at others. We, by way of a recap, found the source for this idea contained in the Torah last week on the words, "B'tzedek tishbot amitecha," with righteousness you shall judge your people. And we saw that it was in this verse in the Torah, "B'tzedek tishbot amitecha," with righteousness you shall judge your people, that there was a value and a mitzvah to actually seeing the good in others when we didn't necessarily understand their behavior, to be able to judge others favorably. This week, I'd like to dig down a little deeper in this concept and see just how seriously Judaism takes this idea and just to what extent the obligation is upon us to be able to find within ourselves an explanation and extenuating circumstances for the behavior and actions of others. Now, again, I want to be clear at the very outset. We are not speaking about malicious, evil people, okay? And one of the great things that we have come face to face with, unfortunately, is evil. I'm speaking to you on the 24th of October, 2023, 3 weeks following the Simchat Torah massacre in Israel. We know what evil is and looks like. I'm not talking about cruel, mean, terrible individuals. I'm speaking about people like, like you and I, people that we would interact with on a daily basis. Our family, our friends, our work colleagues, our people in the supermarket, our people that we are acquainted with from synagogue, the people that form and create the ordinary multitude of human interactions that we have on a daily basis in the society in which we live. Those are the individuals that we're referring to. And we saw that there was a Jewish value to judge others positively. Share with me now and follow with me now as we go a little deeper to see incredibly just how powerful this idea is. Hopefully, you will be able to see my screen. And do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, good.
What happened?
Give me a moment, 1 second. Just want to just want to make sure that, okay. So we have
You talking? We can't hear you. Oh. Rabbi Fishman.
But you're on mute.
Okay.
Better.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Right.
Okay. So let us begin class 2 with Pirkei Avot. Chapter 1, Mishnah 6. The Mishnah says as follows: Yehoshua ben Prachia Omer. Let me make it a little bit larger for you. Hopefully everyone can see. Yes, you can see. Rabbi Yehoshua ben Prachia Omer. Aseh lecha rav, v'kana lecha chaver. Make for yourself a rabbi. Choose a rabbi, choose a leader, choose a moral, spiritual teacher. It's very important value. Kana lecha chaver, acquire a friend for yourself. Also very important. I'm not going to be focusing on this first part. And here's the key. Ve'hevidan et kol ha'adam lekaf skut. And judge every person favorably. Judge every person favorably. Okay, the Rambam, Maimonides, speaking on this Mishnah, says the following: judge every person favorably. What does that mean? Listen carefully. We're going to start with Maimonides. This refers to someone whom you do not know and therefore cannot tell if they are an upright person. He uses the phrase tzaddik. You don't know if they're an upright person or a habitual wrongdoer. You don't know if they're a rasha. You don't know this person. You don't know this person. You recognize them, you're familiar with them, maybe you even interact with them in the workplace, but you don't know their true behavior. In such a case, if you see them doing something or saying something that could be interpreted in two ways, one good, one bad, give them the benefit of the doubt and assume the action was good. This approach is praiseworthy. Fascinating. This approach is praiseworthy. So to begin with, what we have is Maimonides telling us that we are to look at other people and to the best of our ability, judge them favorably when we don't know who they really are. When we don't know who they really are, and we are not sure exactly as to their actions. It could be that there is a way to explain it positively. And Maimonides introduces us to three different types of people. The first, somebody that's always acting correctly. The second, somebody that's always incorrect in their behavior, somebody that's just not so great in terms of their interpersonal relationships. And thirdly, a person you don't yet know. A person you don't yet know. And if you see somebody that you do not yet know, now when I say you don't yet know them, I mean you don't know them intimately, you don't know them extremely well. This could be someone you say hello to in shul. This could be someone that you occasionally chat to at the Kiddush. Hi, how you doing? Yeah, you had a good week? Yeah, yeah. You don't know the depths of that person. You don't know what's going on with that person. You don't know their private life. So they've acted in a certain way. And yes, I know I've stopped the screen share. That's why you've lost it. So they're acting in a certain way. And your obligation, your responsibility right now is to judge them positively, is to be able to say to yourself, you know what, there's possible extenuating circumstances, and that's how I have to look at this individual. That's how I have to look at this individual. How far does that go? How far? Well, you can say to yourself, yeah, but come on, like there's always a limit, right? Let me show you something incredible. Let me show you something incredible in terms of how far and how seriously Maimonides takes this. Maimonides says as follows: if the person is publicly known to be a righteous tzaddik, an upstanding individual, and is known for doing good deeds, and the observer sees an action that looks entirely negative, and nobody is able to interpret it in a positive light, unless you make an unlikely assumption. It's an unlikely assumption now. Oh my God, I'm going to have to go to such a stretch. This is a good person, and they are, give me an example. They're literally stealing money out of another person's. They took the wallet out of somebody's pocket, stole money. I saw them pickpocket another person. They took money. Like, what other interpretation could there be? Says Maimonides, it is still proper to take the positive approach and see the action as good, since there is some possibility that it was indeed a good action, and you're not permitted to suspect them of having acted wrongly. That is amazing. That is amazing. Now remember who we're talking about now. If the person, let's see how he starts. If the person is publicly known to be righteous, If the person is publicly known to be righteous, I've stopped my share again, Sharon, don't worry. If you look at someone, if you know somebody, if you see somebody, if you have a relationship with somebody and you know who they are and they are doing the wrong thing, they might not be doing the wrong thing. That's the idea. They might not be doing the wrong thing. And it's up to us to be able to say to ourselves, okay, to what degree are we going to go to now to come up with a far-fetched, I don't know, like, this is far-fetched, yes. To what degree is a person going to come up with a far-fetched interpretation of what might have been the alternative? I want to share with you an amazing story from the Talmud involving Rabbi Akiva, who wasn't paid on time after working for somebody. Rabbi Akiva puts in work. Rabbi Akiva at the time is penniless. The person he's working for is a millionaire, and the guy never pays him. You want to know to what degree you have to come up with an interpretation that possibly, maybe, well, perhaps. Take a look at the following. This is an amazing idea. You see my screen? We'll do it in the English. Rabbi Akiva worked for Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus for 3 years. By the way, Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus is said to be one of the few greatest, richest people in all of the land of Israel. The man was an absolute millionaire. Rabbi Akiva was working for him for 3 years, and Rabbi Akiva was penniless. On the eve of Yom Kippur, Rabbi Akiva was preparing to leave and bring his wages home to his wife and children. Hasn't been home for 3 years. He's penniless, he's had a job, been able to survive while having that job, but now he wants to go home. Now he's going to get his wages. Rabbi Akiva asked Rabbi Eliezer for payment of his wages. Rabbi Eliezer replied he had no money to give, although Rabbi Akiva saw that he indeed did have money to give. Can you imagine? Can you imagine you've invested 3 years of your life to working hard, waiting for your payday? I don't know about you, but most people are waiting for the 15th of the month and the 1st of the month just for their payday. Imagine 3 years of investment, of time, of effort. And you know that this person that you're working for, they've got the money. You know they've got the money. What does Rabbi Akiva do? Let's continue with our story. Much, much later, Rabbi Eliezer actually paid the full wage to Rabbi Akiva. He got his money, but it was much, much later. And at the time when he gave him the money, the story continues as follows. Rabbi Eliezer asked Rabbi Akiva, did you suspect me when I refused to pay you in cash, even though you saw that I had money? Rabbi Akiva replied, I assumed that you had found a bargain real estate investment for which you had set aside the money. By the way, every time that there's going to be a question, did you suspect me when Rabbi Akiva is going to say something? And Rabbi Eliezer's response is, yeah, absolutely right. That's indeed what happened. Rabbi Akiva makes an assumption, he's assuming, and he hits the nail on the head each and every time. Did you suspect me when I said I couldn't pay you in cash? No, I had no qualms. I had no ill feeling towards you. I suspected you'd found a real bargain real estate investment and you set aside the money. So at that time, you indeed didn't have any cash flow. Did you suspect me when I refused to pay you in pillows and blankets and land when you saw that I had them? Okay, I didn't pay you in cash, but I could have paid you in pillows and blankets. I could have given you a parcel of land. That was the next question. Rabbi Akiva replied, I assumed that you had pledged all of your assets to the temple. And since if they were consecrated, Rabbi Eliezer could not use them. That's exactly what happened, exclaimed Rabbi Eliezer. My son Hyrcanus was not studying Torah, and to set him straight, I consecrated my property to the temple, gifting away the inheritance that would have been his. I later went to the sages, and they annulled my commitment, so that now everything has returned to my possession, and therefore I am able to pay you. Rabbi Akiva was working for a millionaire who never paid him a penny. And eventually, when that payday came, he says to him, just tell me the truth. Did you think I was a terrible piece of work? No, says Rabbi Akiva. I had a far-fetched, ridiculous idea. Maybe you had found an amazing real estate investment. Okay, but what about the rest of my, my land, my pillows, my cushions, my utensils? Did you not think that I could have paid you in that? What did you think when you walked past my storehouse and you saw the silverware in the cabinet? You didn't think I could have given you any of that as payment? I thought you would have consecrated all of that away to the temple, and therefore it was no longer yours. You're absolutely right, says Rabbi Eliezer. That's indeed what happened. Sharon, you have a question.
Yes, doesn't that go, and I don't remember where it's from, but I recall reading a Torah passage that says that you must pay your workman at the end of the week for his work, because
very good. We have another mitzvah in the Torah that says you must pay a day laborer on time.
Exactly.
Absolutely correct. That's if you've got money. Rabbi Eliezer simply had no money at that period of time. And as a result of that, wasn't able to pay him. He had simply given away all of his money, consecrating it to the temple.
But wasn't he presumably eating and living and so on? So if he could take care of his own needs, shouldn't he have arranged his affairs so as to pay his laborer who needed the money?
It's a great question. It's a great question. The only alternative answer that I would suggest is that Rabbi Akiva didn't come under the category of a day laborer. And we're introduced at the beginning of the passage by saying he had worked for 3 years. Perhaps when you're on contract, you don't need to pay the laborer at the end of the day. Yeah. Becky, you had your hand up. Did you want to ask a question or no?
I do.
Okay. Yes, David, you wanted to ask a question?
Well, this gives license to people to be dishonest.
David, you are absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct. And you've hit the nail on the head with one of the most important ideas. If we are always going to be good, upstanding people, giving the benefit of the doubt to others that we don't really know their behavior, doesn't that let other people take advantage of us? Doesn't that embed within the system a sense of letting people cheat the system? The answer is yes. It does. It does. There will always be people who cheat the system. Hear me carefully. This is so important. There will always be no good nicks. There will always be people around who are trying to steal, trying to do something under the table, trying to work and rig the game. But Judaism said, Afal Pikain, nevertheless, we're speaking to the vast majority of people, and we believe that the vast majority of people are upstanding, and we believe that the vast majority of people should be upstanding and act in such a manner. Will that open us up to have people to take advantage of us? Yes. But you cannot legislate for each and every single possible circumstance and then find that you're in a straitjacket of legal twists and turns because we've rigged a system for the most scoundrelous of individuals. In life, we are upstanding and good. People want to take advantage of us, no problem. What's it called? Fool me once, shame on me. Sorry, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. We learn that the people that cheat us, the people that trick us, the people that are dishonest with us, so we lose our innocence, we lose our naivety a little bit. We have a rude awakening and we grow up and we realize what this life looks like.
Can I say something now?
You
Isn't
said
this what happened to
always.
us from Hamas?
No.
We were good to them. We helped them. We helped
This
those
is
people.
we're
Not
again,
the
as I
Hamas,
said, Susan,
the
as I said in the
Palestinians in
introduction,
Gaza.
Susan, as I said in the introduction, we're not talking about evil individuals. We're not talking about evil individuals. We're talking about ordinary people that we want to give the benefit of the doubt from. David said, can people not take advantage of the situation? People can always take advantage of the situation. But with Hamas, we're talking about evil murderers. And we put up a fence to keep them away from
I didn't mean Hamas. I meant the Palestinians that live in Gaza that all turned against us.
Let's try not to
mix it up. Okay, sorry.
Global politics and these principles of Judaism, there's a lot to talk about there, but it's going to get so complicated. And it's hard to start applying these principles specifically to an entire nation of people. So I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. There is something to speak about that. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. David,
can I have a supplementary question? Don't you think Rabbi Eliezer should have explained himself to Rabbi Akiva? Because if he'd put himself in Rabbi Akiva's shoes, he would have realized that there was something missing.
Maybe, yeah. How did he know that not everyone is Rabbi Akiva? Not everyone is saintly and pious and is willing to give the benefit of the doubt. Great question. Great question. Why didn't he explain himself? He was now opening himself up to possibly be misunderstood.
Yeah.
I have the same question. Excellent analysis, David. Becky, yes. I can't hear you, Becky.
Unmute.
You're not muted.
My take on this is Dan kol adam l'kaf zchut. I think with what Pirkei Avot is trying to tell us is that Rabbi Akiva was able to understand what he did, and in one sense, we probably would not have been able to do that. We're not Rabbi Akiva, but he had been living with him for 3 years, and I think he really did understand him, and therefore it was not like, cheating the system. He realized he wasn't cheating the system. He realized that he had good reason to do what he did. And it turned out that he was right in everything that he said. And I don't think Pirkei Avot is trying to tell us, that we should just sit down and take whatever anyone gives us and, let anyone just cheat us. I don't think that's the point. I think the point is to show us that that here was a situation where, he didn't have the cash or he didn't have the material to give to Akiva at that point. And the end of the story is that before Sukkot, he came with pillows and with money and with everything else. And I think that that's the point of the story. Dan kol adam l'kaf zchut, that we have to be able to see the good in everybody. And we're not talking about evil people. We're talking about, a person like Rabbi Akiva who was able to understand Eliezer ben Horkanus because he had lived with him for 3 years.
Okay, fair. I take that. Let me share a story with you. This is a story of Rabbi Shimon Schwab. Rabbi Shimon Schwab was a rabbi who moved from Europe to New York. He died in 1995. And he told the following story. He had a shul in New York. And it was
Washington Heights.
I'm sorry?
Washington Heights.
Washington Heights, thank you. As he was walking down the street one day in New York, he observed an observant congregant eating a hot dog from a non-kosher hot dog stand. Okay, we're familiar with those non-kosher hot dog stands in New York. What is your perspective? This is like, there's a funny joke about this, right? The rabbi sees the guy eating in the non-kosher restaurant on Yom Kippur. It's an old joke. But this actually isn't a joke. This is the story. The rabbi is walking down the street in New York. He finds a congregant eating one of the non-kosher hot dogs from a non-kosher hot dog stand. Rabbi Schwab immediately assumed, this person must have a life-threatening illness that requires him to immediately eat something at the onset of the symptoms. That's where his mind went to. Why am I sharing this story with you? Because of what David said earlier. Like maybe after, or was it Becky? I don't remember. Maybe after Rabbi Akiva learning with Rabbi Eliezer, he saw how saintly he was. He saw how pious he was. He understood who his teacher was. What about you and me? What about you and me? So I'm sharing with you these stories so it can be at the forefront of our mind the next time we see something which is incongruous. Later on, Rabbi Schwab was informed that that very same congregant had been hospitalized, and he went to visit him. And when he saw him in hospital, it turned out that he was suffering from a bleeding stomach ulcer, and that the patient had told him that the doctor had instructed him to eat immediately at the onset of any symptoms if he had heard from, if he felt symptoms of a very difficult pain in his stomach. And exactly what was the assumption that was made was what actually happened in actuality.
Couldn't he have chosen a cheese sandwich?
Maybe, but maybe he wasn't close enough to any cheese sandwich vendor. And in New York, you're usually close to a hot dog vendor. A more common example. I'll give you a more common example. Someone is usually always on time for a meeting with you, and they're late.
Yeah.
And that someone's late for a meeting with you. Where does your mind go? Where does your mind go?
There must be a reason.
There must be a reason. There must be a reason. They're usually on time. They're usually on time. There must be a reason. Okay.
My mind would go to, I hope they're okay.
Okay, good, good. I want to make this real for you. Okay, I want to do something we haven't done before. I want to do a workshop with you now. Okay, I'm going to say the scenario. You give me a response. Okay, I want you to start thinking. I want you to start practicing. I want you to make this real. Scenario number one. You're at your local gym. You're in the dressing room getting changed. You overhear a child say to their parent, "Hey, these pants aren't mine." And the parent responds, "Oh, it doesn't matter. Just put them on. Let's go." What goes through your mind? In light of this class that we are now learning, in light of what we are studying together, give me your response.
Okay, the kid has a medical appointment which can't be missed, and they can't spend time looking for the other pair of pants.
Excellent. Give me another one. This is where your faculty of imagination comes. Give me another one. Yes.
Another one can be, it's one of the siblings' pants.
Excellent. Excellent. When he said these aren't mine, he took his siblings' pants by mistake. Give me another one.
I would add on the first one that obviously they had to be somewhere that they couldn't wait, but that they'll take care of it later. They'll come back to the gym and take care of it later.
Okay. Okay, good. Scenario two. Use your faculty of imagination. You're in a classroom waiting for a class to start. Two students are talking to each other. One whispers something to the other, and then they both turn around and look at you and continue talking. Are they talking about you? Is it good? Is it bad? Give me your response. What are you now thinking?
I'd smile and wave.
Good. Smile and wave. What are you thinking? Give me another response.
I would just think it was a coincidence.
That's a coincidence. Give me another response.
Is there anything I can help you with?
Excellent. Is there anything I can help you with? I'll give you another one. Maybe they're not even looking at you. Maybe you're paranoid. You think they're looking at you. They're not. I'll give you a fifth one. Maybe they were saying something complimentary about you.
Susan, you were saying something, but you were muted.
Susan, you're muted.
I agree. I agree with the rabbi. I would have been paranoid. I would have thought they were criticizing me.
That's what you would have thought before our class, but now we're working on strengthening our muscles. Remember, this whole class is to make us better people, okay? That's what this is all about.
Hopefully.
Okay, one last one. And a final scenario. You have a good friend who lives in a different town whom you speak to on the phone every Friday while driving home. On Friday, you call, there's no reply. So you try again on Sunday. And after leaving messages during the week, they haven't returned your call. Are they giving you the cold shoulder? Or is their cell phone broken?
or something terrible has happened to them.
Yeah, I'd be very worried about them.
Me too. I'd be terribly
Contact
worried.
somebody that we know mutually and make sure they're okay.
Excellent. Excellent. Very good. You see what happened there? We went from no longer just thinking that is it possibly a negative answer, but now you've jumped into care and concern to try and look out for the well-being of that individual. See how beautiful that is? That's an amazing thing. You know what, class? I'm going to give you 10 out of 10. I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of you. That's a very nice thing. You went from, what's happening? Can I think of it in a more positive way? To maybe there's something else going on. Maybe I need to reach out to that person and get in touch with them. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, friends, I am going to have to love you and leave you because we are juggling a variety of different classes and courses today. I'm starting with this new Israel update. So I'm going to pause our class here for today, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.